It's no secret that the Shrek films, despite their crude humor, contain deeply impactful lessons about life, love, and being yourself. And just about anyone can tell you that the soundtracks are full of back-to-back bangers, bops, and whatever else people cooler than me call music nowadays. But what I think people often overlook is just how perfectly the soundtracks encapsulate the themes and character arcs seen throughout the franchise. Obviously, we have to begin with the song that started everything. Hey now, you're an all-star. The first line out of Smash's mouth is, "Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me." And immediately, the main themes of Shrek 1 are put on display. People have told Shrek his whole life that he's a monster, that it's his destiny to be alone and unhappy. But instead of pushing back against this idea, he leans into it. This is the part where you run away. Refusing to let anyone get close to him.
They judge me before they even know me. That's why I'm better off alone.
And this is why the second part of All Star's opening verse is so important. She was looking kind of dumb with her finger and her thumb in the shape of an L on her forehead. What this points out is that our own self-doubt tends to make us believe any criticism we hear about ourselves. That if something's wrong, it must mean that something's wrong with us, right?
Wrong, sir. Wrong!
In reality, if someone's going out of their way to put you down or make you feel worse about yourself, they are the one with a problem, not you. Take Lord Farquaad, for example. Not only is he obsessed with his own image,
do you think maybe he's compensating for something?
But he is constantly trying to control other people as well. He views respect as a finite resource and feels the need to tear down others in order to elevate himself.
The ogre has fallen in love with the princess!
But because of this, he winds up being the one who looks the most foolish. And of course gets eaten by a dragon. Shrek and Fiona, however, realize over the course of the film that how others perceive you is not important. The only people besides yourself who really matter are the ones who love you unconditionally. And the only way to love someone unconditionally is to see them for who they really are. They realize that they alone get to define themselves, be it as an all-star, a rock star, or even an onion. However, sometimes learning a lesson isn't enough. As much as movies tend to make it seem like one life-changing moment will fix you forever, reality is a lot more complicated. Sometimes you have to learn the same lesson over and over again for it to really sink in, which is one of the main reasons that Shrek 2 is an absolutely perfect sequel. I've heard people online and outside when I'm allowed to leave the attic complain that Shrek 2 is essentially Shrek 1 all over again. Now, Double the Shrek is never a bad thing, but I think this critique fundamentally misunderstands the purpose of the second film. Sure, the broad themes are generally the same, but the movie serves as an opportunity to test and reinforce the lessons Shrek learned on his previous adventure. While his head might know that Fiona loves him unconditionally, his heart is still afraid that her affection for him comes with caveats. And the diametrically opposed emotions that he feels as a result of this disconnect are emphasized beautifully by the opening song, Accidentally in Love by Counting Crows.
So she said, what's the problem, baby? What's the problem? I don't know. Well, maybe I'm in love.
In 3 simple lines, we perfectly convey the internal conflict Shrek experiences in the film. He and Fiona are in love. Everything should be perfect. So then why does something feel wrong? Well, the truth is, Shrek doesn't know how to process real romantic love. Just a few months ago, he didn't even have any friends. Going from,
What? are you doing in my swamp?
To a beautiful honeymoon with the woman of his dreams is bound to create some cognitive dissonance. Now, if you've ever been in Shrek's position, you might think that these feelings will go away if you just ignore them, but the song has something to say about that as well.
How much longer will it take to cure this? Just to cure it, cause I can't ignore it if it's love, love.
Ignoring the fear and doubt that comes with being in love is never the answer, because the only cure is consciously addressing them both by yourself and with your partner. Giving your heart to another person is scary, but if you suppress these fears instead of working through them, they can easily fester and cause you to inadvertently drive a wedge between you and the person you love, which is sort of the whole plot of Shrek 2. They start off perfectly happy. It is undeniably the couple's very own happily ever after. But then this happens.
Enough, Reggie.
Shrek and Fiona are brought to the kingdom of far, far away, where people like Harold feel entitled to define what their love should or shouldn't look like. Now, because Shrek still hasn't fully internalized the lessons from Shrek 1, the doubt and judgment of the king triggers a self-destructive spiral, which leads me to perhaps the best needle drop in cinematic history.
C minor, put it in C minor.
The thing I love about Shrek 2's use of holding out for a hero is that it applies to Shrek and King Harold more so than Fiona.
Isn't there a white knight upon a fiery steed?
After going through Fiona's diary and seeing how she used to dream about marrying someone like Prince Charming, he incorrectly assumes that these attributes are still her priority, and that she's merely settling for an ogre like him. But the truth is, she gave up on those superficial ideas after seeing just how similar to an onion Shrek really was.
Maybe you shouldn't judge people before you get to know them.
It's the men in her life, however, that seem to be unable to accept her love for Shrek just the way he is. Her father, for instance, is so caught up in the aesthetics of what Fiona's husband should look like.
He's gotta be strong and he's gotta be fast and he's gotta be fresh from the thighs.
That he almost forces her into a non-consensual love affair with a narcissistic mama's boy. One of the most important lyrics in Holding Out for a Hero is,
Somewhere after midnight in my wildest fantasy.
it's natural to imagine how love might manifest in your life, but the images you create are just that. Imaginary. If you're not careful, holding on too tightly to that fantasy becomes dangerous. Harold and Shrek are both so obsessed with appearances that their actions almost cost Fiona her happily ever after. Fiona doesn't care what her hero looks like. She loves Shrek for who he is, which is why she is immediately off-put by Prince Charming pretending to be Shrek.
You might find you like this new Shrek.
But it's the old one I fell in love with, Dad. I'd give anything to have him back.
Now, as the song itself plays and Shrek manages to make it to Fiona before midnight, it's undeniable that Shrek truly is the hero she was holding out for. But there's one more lesson to be tested.
Fiona, is this what you want?
I want what any princess wants. To live happily ever after with the ogre I married.
In choosing to revert back to their true forms, Fiona proves to Shrek that not only does she love him, but that love comes without caveats or concessions. And sure, we ultimately end up right back where we started externally, but internally, Shrek and Fiona have now truly internalized the lessons from the first film. From here on out, they can go forward as a happy and healthy couple that is fully secure in their love for one another. If you like this video, then you've got to check out my breakdown of Puss in Boots and why it's so important to scare kids. I'm Dylan, and this has been The Writer's Block.